Namaskar. Hello and welcome to PGurus channel. I am your host Sree Iyer. Joining me today is Professor RV as we talk about Rahul Gandhi. Is he a Pappu or is he a dangerous schemer? And we have some new breaking information that we are going to share with you that's going to really shock you. So stay tuned on that. First, like this video. And now let's welcome the good professor, Professor R. Vaidyanathan. Professor RV, Namaskaram sir. Welcome to PGurus channel. How are you?
Namaste, Namaskaram, Manakam, all the things. Thank you very much, Sree Iyer, for the opportunity given by the PGurus. As usual, I think you didn't mention, I do not know. Kindly subscribe to the channel and press the button about your liking.
Yes.
And that would help go a long way in making PGurus to become a regular TV channel. That has been my gentle wish. Let's see. I also would like to thank last but not the least Sachin Sarma, who I always considered as bottle washer to head cook. He is background, but he is doing everything in terms of technical, in terms of programming, in terms of even topics and other things. Thank him. And last important thing is the audience of PGurus, who provide very important and incisive comments. Some of them are very useful, some of them are abusive, it doesn't matter. But otherwise, very good insight they provide. So the audience also I should appreciate. Today, as he was mentioning, he is going to give you some breaking news that is slightly coming later, I think. The first most important is, last 10 years I have been telling, do not call this Rahul Gandhi as Pappu, clown and all this thing, joker. And one or two things, Vidurunidhi earlier, long time before suggested, do not underestimate any one of your enemies. Even if he is a balaka, even if he is a small boy, don't try to underestimate. And the example in that case will be Prahalad. He should not have been underestimated by his own father. Anyhow, finally he met his nemesis in the form of Narasimha. The point I want to stress is, take your enemy very seriously. Even if he is of, what one can call jovial and all these things. Because what happens is, a large number of people are lowest common denominator in the voting class or voting public or something. They may even feel in terms of identity. In those days, it used to be told when Senior Bush was elected, because Bush was considered as one of those funny characters. He can't, what one can call munch, chip as well as walk simultaneously. That type of thing used to be told about him. And anyhow, he got elected. Somebody mentioned large number of ordinary people might have identified themselves with him, that we also can't munch and then walk. And he is of similar nature.
He is our kind of guy. He is our kind of guy.
Our kind of guy, right? People like us, right? So they would have gone and voted. So same thing is happening for Kamala Harris. Many of the people say that she is dumb, she doesn't have grasping power. She says we should become great, greater, greatest, like that. And so many of the, again, average American might be similar to that. He may think he is like us, so she should be encouraged. Anyhow, the point I want to stress is, he is not, as it is made out, an ordinary person or joker or something. He is a schemer, and he has got not only himself, but he has got a lot of advisors. For instance, a simple thing like this, he tried all his thing of going to temples, putting one sacred thread, chanting, and it didn't work out. Somehow he is not considered as a Hindu icon or Hindu type of a religious leader. He realized it. I am sure his advisors like your 𝗤𝙗𝙗, who is one of the significant writers in on RSS, etc., and other type of like Ramesh in India, as well as Some people suggest even Raghuram Rajan. And of course, his man Friday at US in terms of Sam Petroda. All of these people would have suggested to him, this dress doesn't suit you. This trying to become a Hindu icon or something like that. What is the way out? Way out is simple. The unity of Hindus can only be opposed or contradicted in politics with caste. So take caste as a weapon and then start using it. That is what he has been trying to do of late. The point I want to stress is, he is creating chaos, if you ask me, in simple language. Somebody told he's a man with a petrol can. That is what is actually. And he is doing it outside the country. That's what makes us very surprising. Inside the country, you can talk anything and then opposition. But outside the country, to talk as a regular opposition leader, attacking your own system, your own institutions is something which is not normally done. Any country you take, Germany or France or US, when their opposition leaders travel abroad, they don't attack their own local. On a conceptual basis, they may say something about overall, but not on a specific thing. Recently, he was speaking in US. He told India is similar to US, United States of India. He told all the states have combined together to form a country. We are very similar. That is totally, if you ask me, ignorant of our history. He quoted the constitution. Somebody wrote, not he, somebody wrote that it says that the union of states. That states is different than the states which are existing today. Sardar Vallabh Patel merged 561 samasthanams into the Indian Union. That time he created actually. And Hyderabad was one of the ones which was resisting. He sent the cops and solved the issue. Remember, in those days there was no mobile phone, no internet, no type of speed aircrafts, nothing. He just had a landline and his help, VP Menon, 561 samasthanams emerged. And that is what the constitution says. This is the constitution which came in 51, started building up from 49 as the union of states. And they say union, that union was this Ramnath Samasthanam, Mysore Samasthanam, Trivangur Samasthanam, Baroda Samasthanam and other. That should not be confused with the present states. The present states came after the fasting by Potti Sriramulu, one of the few politicians I know who really fasted and died for a cause. Because most other politicians fast between breakfast and lunch, and then they close the shop and they say that some say fast unto death, not their death, other fellows' death. So this type of logic they give. Anyhow, after Potti Sriramulu death of in Andhra Pradesh, there was a huge amount of consternation, violence and other thing. Government constituted a state reorganization commission, first SRC. And based on that, these states were formed, like your Maharashtra and Gujarat got separated from Bombay Presidency, like Andhra Pradesh and Tamil Nadu, all these states got formed. Kindly note one important thing. In India, the center can divide the states, as it did in the case of Andhra Pradesh, into two parts recently. Earlier, it removed actually Chhattisgarh to form a new state, Uttarakhand to form a new state, and also can add states. Like Sikkim was added as an additional state, Goa was added as a state, and so there is no comparison. In US, the boundaries of the states cannot be altered by the federal government. Let's be very clear about it. They cannot change the border of Texas or anything. The way in US the states got formed is, initially 8 to 10 states were together. Later on, many of the states had pitched battles actually, and then they all finally got into the, and then there was a big fight in the Abraham Lincoln time about the Confederate states and the Yankee states or the northern part. Anyhow, finally everything. So 50 states got merged into forming a union. In India, the union was formed, the center was formed, which created these states. I think this distinction is extremely important. Iyer wanted to say something interesting. Let's listen to him.
Yes, indeed. What I wanted to say was this is as part of what you are saying, sir. And now I've missed that trend. But there were a couple of other things I wanted to mention to our viewers. Viewers, I'm going to put a link in the reference part in the description. Kindly go through that. What has happened is Rahul Gandhi's aide misbehaved with an India Today group journalist in Dallas, Texas. This happened a couple of days ago. Dallas hotel where Rahul and his team were staying. What has happened is this person is a US-based Indian journalist. He was recently hired by India Today, and he went to interview 𝗤𝙑. And the question that was asked, the interview was going well. The question that was asked was, do you think Rahul Gandhi will take up the issue of Hindu minorities in Bangladesh with US policy and lawmakers? Nothing wrong in this question. The question was not addressed at Rahul Gandhi. It was addressed to 𝗤𝙑, whom this person was interviewing. Then what happened? 𝗤𝙑 gave the answer, but moments thereafter, Alankar, who is Rahul's personal secretary, came and asked the interview to stop. He did not stop there and demanded that the interview be deleted. The journalist resisted and refused to delete. Alankar and his goons snatched the iPhone from the journalist and forcibly put him on a chair with two men holding him. Later, Alankar and his men brought the phone to his face while one aide held him by his neck, made him unlock the iPhone and deleted the entire interview, both from the iPhone memory and also trash, because it goes to trash next. All this happened.
One point here, Petroda has gone out, it appears, at that time.
It's possible. So then all this happened for 30 minutes.
Pick up Gandhi.
No, this is interesting. He says this happened for 30 minutes, during which the journalist was told that he will not get the iPhone till the time Rahul was in US. The journalist in question complained to his India Today bosses, but India Today remained silent at the assault of its journalists. Before I went live, I had informally asked India Today through a good friend of mine if this incident happened, and India Today said yes. So this is not something that is concocted up. My question, sir, is what was wrong with the question, and why does this Alankar guy get so bent out of shape on a valid question that a journalist is asking?
Very correct.
So
at most, they could have told, no, he is not going to get into this type of issues like that.
Exactly. Yeah.
More.
So, okay. So this is one thing, and there is more stuff. There is also a video clip. So do watch that thing, viewers. I just wanted to highlight to you, this guy is behaving like a thug. I mean, if he's, you can't say, oh, my personal secretary did this. They had an idea, they have an agenda, they don't want to touch upon this topic. They don't even want to put the thought that somebody might ask Rahul Gandhi this question. So this is getting a little too far. I don't go to these interviews. Between you and me, Professor RV, I rarely go and visiting Indian politicians. Not worth it. Thank you so much, sir. And now let's get back.
Okay. So this first is the Union of States. There's a huge lie which is getting spread there. And the same lie is being spread in Tamil Nadu also by these Dravidian stocks. Many of them talk about Ondriya Arasu or federal government, or it's not a central government. Without knowing what is the formation, how it got formed, another thing. That is the first point I want to stress. There is a huge difference between Union of States in US and the Union of States in India. The second is what Rahul Gandhi is talking about in US also, is about the role of SC, ST and OBC. He is everywhere telling that out of 90 decision makers in India, according to him, 90 secretaries are there who are the major only decision makers in India. And there among them, you find SC, ST, OBC, very small numbers, maybe 4 or 5, put something. And he says this is unacceptable. And some context he says the reservation should be increased to more than 50%. But his own party in 1990 advertised that reservation is harmful to the country and it is like scorpion, which is eating the vials of the country and other thing. Rahul says, no, that's not a correct position. Our current position, he says it has to be increased beyond 50%. That is another interesting thing. The only state in India which has got beyond 50% as of now is Tamil Nadu, 69%, which has been put into Schedule 11, which cannot be questioned in the Supreme Court. And one Vijayan, one lawyer who is taking up the case, was beaten up in Madras. And this case is pending from 2004 or something. This is something which I don't think this case will ever be coming up. Anyhow, Supreme Court is busy giving bails to various other type of criminals and other activists. Anyhow. And so Rahul is totally on this war path on this caste. And everywhere he is talking about the caste getting, and he asked somewhere question about how many SC, ST are there in the fashion show, Miss India contest. Over one, how many of them are SC or ST? And I am sure soon he will extend it to cricket team and football team and various other Bollywood and other thing. He is on a rampage on this particular issue. Very interesting. Why I am telling he is an instigator is 2011, his own government, P. Chidambaram was Home Minister that time, and they conducted a census. They did a additional socio-economic survey of caste and economic condition of the people of this country. There's a huge bulky notes is there that is kept in the cupboard of Niti Aayog, because there was so much amount of chaos in collecting the data. Finally, they collected it. Some 65,000 data has to be cleaned, whether it is, this particular caste or that particular caste or something. My point is, why can't Rahul demand that 2011 caste census be released, done by his own government? That is one. Another is 2017, when Siddharamaiah was having the government in Karnataka. That was the earlier government. After that, BJP came. After that, again, Siddharamaiah has become CM. 2017 also, he was the CM. That time, a caste survey was conducted in Karnataka. And that has not been released. That has been kept in the cupboard with the lock and key. I think key has been thrown out also. And periodically, people are demanding, why can't you release that caste census? Rahul can demand that also. He is not doing that. He wants to have fresh census all over the country to create, imbalance. As I always say, caste in politics divides and create violence. Caste in business unites. It's a separate type of issue. So he is onto that bandwagon of, and he is going abroad and then talking ill about the current dispensation in India. That is what is something which is very. And the later one, what he said is this SC, ST, OBC, he says small representative. This is the Jinnah's idea. Jinnah is the first one to propound the idea that Muslims can alone represent Muslims. This is a very pernicious doctrine. It is not what one can call desirable, or India never had this type of idea. For instance, many of the so-called forward caste people have done phenomenally good things for SC, ST in the country. You take Rajaji, you take Gandhiji, you take Savarkar, you take my namesake. He is the one who took actually the Dalits into Meenakshi temple. So the logic that only that particular group, like in Tamil Nadu, there used to be told 1 year vote, 1 year kille. That is, 1 year can only represent 1 year, and women can only represent women, and transgender can only represent transgender. It goes on and on. This pernicious doctrine itself should be head-on taken. Any leader, Kamaraj was a Nadar. That doesn't mean only Nadars he was trying to help, or he was a leader for all the communities. So this Rahul doctrine of SC, ST, OBC should have adequate their own representation in order to have benefits of the various schemes or various ideas. I think that should be clearly told to him that this proposition itself is not an appropriate proposition. And over and above that, suddenly, I do not know, he told openly that hopefully Sikhs do have some facility in India to have turban and kirpan, that 6-inch sword, keep it and then get into Gurudwaras. This is atrocious actually. It was supported by Panun, who is one of the Khalistani separatists sitting in US. He told this is what we are also doing. Not a single instance Rahul can quote where a Sikh has not been allowed into the Gurudwara, or he is not allowed to have a turban or having a kirpan in India. This is something, this is what I would rather call really instigating a sense of what one can call separatism sitting outside. And he had a meeting of all the various groups where he had Ilhan Omar. I'm sure Iyer would be able to enlighten us about her. Iyer, tell the audience about her.
Yes, sir. But first, please get a sip of water so that you can get your throat taken care of. So, viewers, Ilhan Omar was present at a meeting that was, I think it took place in National Press Club. It was organized by somebody whose husband is a director at IIMC. And these are all the representative he knows, Hindus in name only, but they are full of anger and hatred for Hindus. You've seen them across the spectrum of many alphabet soup organizations that I like to mention them. No point in mentioning these names. You will know there'll be a Hindu name spewing venom at India and Hindus and Modi. You know that this is this alphabet soup organization. They'll keep sprouting here and there. There will be word America in that. There'll be Islam there. And then there'll be something bad about India or Hindus. So this is the story. But what also happened, Professor RV, is there's nothing wrong for people to meet congressmen and women. He also met Ro Khanna. He also met Raja Krishnamurthy. That person's picture is not there, but I know there's one picture taken where I think Raja Krishnamurthy is the person who was there. He also met with Sree Thaneda. Now, these are all good people. I mean, the only exception here is Ilhan Omar. Why? Because she always paints outside the lines. She had married her own brother, own blood, same father, same mother. I have to say that also. Same father, same mother. So that her said brother could come to the United States and get free education at the expense of the taxpayer. Me. And then, sir, the situation was like this. She had 2 children from a previous marriage, and her first husband was also going to school at the same place. So you had a family in apartment, again paid by the taxpayer, taking courses paid by the taxpayer, getting food paid by the taxpayer, all living under one roof paid by the taxpayer. And as soon as the courses were completed, divorce happens.
Yeah. So this is opportunity.
I've run out of space for flower to be put on my ear, sir. I've run out of space for the flowers to be put on my ear.
But she visited also, I think, Pak-occupied Kashmir. Am I right?
That it doesn't stop there. Said there is a Pakistani American businessman based in LA, I hear. he also went with her. He paid for that because he wanted. There was another problem. The Congress was concerned if her money or the trip was paid for by her campaign finance, because that doesn't fall under campaign finance money usage. Then he said, no, I paid for it. So that businessman came. She went to Pak occupied Kashmir. Then she met with Imran Khan. Unfortunately, Imran Khan lost his job soon after. So the thing here is, she is a radioactive element. People like her should not be in the Congress. Unfortunately, Trump talked about her, but he did not do anything about getting her out of the country. Sir, immigration fraud is for life. Immigration fraud is for life. Once you commit it, it's done. And strangest reason, sir, FBI and CIA are extremely benevolent towards her. Extremely benevolent towards her. So this is where things stand, and she is trouble. I'm sure she asked a question that would have been not appropriate. But anyway, this guy is all, ba, 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 ba. He's just on blabbering expedition. So who cares? But I think viewers are now beginning to get a taste of the kind of stuff he does. Last 2 or 3 trips he has done this. This is not the only trip that he has done something like this. Very unbecoming of someone who is having pretensions of being the Prime Minister of India. Again, there is a problem there, Professor RV. When he was born, his mother was still an Italian citizen. So by being the son of an Italian citizen, he automatically falls under the same rules that apply to her mother. All dust is settled. Somehow Indy manages to win, and this man cannot become Prime Minister, nor can his sister. Okay, so there will be again the same kind of a National Advisory Council where they'll sit and pull the strings. I think another trick that the Modi government missed. You cannot give cabinet rank to arbitrarily people like the National Advisory Council and the chairperson of the National Advisory Council. These cannot be given. These don't come under the Constitution. They should have passed a resolution like that, or a bill like that. And that's also, lateral entry. That's also lateral entry. Then why are you opposing it now? See, all lies, all, waste of time. These people are hypocrites of the highest order. Sir, back to you. 2 minutes conclusion, then we'll take questions, sir.
Yeah, the point I want to stress is, I think he could be speaking anything within the country. That's his, that's our fate, or that is his lot. But going outside the country, a country like US or UK or something, and then abusing our system, questioning our, Sam Petroda was there and he didn't question that. He told that EVM machines are all big fraud. Actually, it's one of those, personally, if you ask me, the greatest invention of the Indian scientists. In any other country, those 4 or 5 people who initiated it would have been appreciated, garlanded all over the country. And actually, one of the Tamil writers, Sujata, was also in that group. Anyhow, point I want to stress is, we don't appreciate. It is like a calculator, standalone. It doesn't have any Bluetooth or doesn't have any internet connection or anything. And there were many countries which were showing interest in that actually. Latin American countries, Asian, and we could have had something like $100 billion US export. But one of my colleagues was telling me, when they were considering it for the local community poll, somebody pointed out to look, in India, the opposition leader says it is untrustworthy, it's very risky, another thing. How can we? In other words, in Tamil we call it Sonda Salavil Sunyam. In our own expense, we do witchcraft on ourselves. Like that. This was not encouraged. And that has been, so my point is, respectable position called leader of opposition, you should be in a position to tell abroad, look, I'm not fully familiar with EVM, at least that much you can say, or you can defend the EVM. There is no need for you to deride your own thing. Fortunately, the Patam and other thing which was ridiculed by Chidambaram, Peru has already taken it up and it has found it to be very, very useful. Many other Latin American countries are going to use it, and similarly, South Africa is also using it, and Southeast Asia, many countries are using it. The point I want to stress is, howsoever Rahul is trying to deride our country, he should not be doing it outside. This is my point. And this is very important actually for the self-respect of our own country. We are not a banana republic like Somalia or Rwanda or Mali or anything. We have a thriving thing, and inside we have a phenomenally thriving press and media and other thing. Opportunities are plenty, and assessment of him to be a person who is frivolous, who is a clown, who is all that is like Zelensky was, he was a TV media joker, and prior to that he was in a circus actually, but finally you see he was shaped up by the NATO and US forces to become a big leader with a t-shirt everywhere he is going around. Today he wants to create a global nuclear war. He wants to have long-range weapons to attack inside Russia, which will provoke obviously the Putin regime. Anyhow, do not underestimate your enemy. Do not try to portray him as somebody who is useless and other thing. He is having a single point agenda. He goes to Kashmir and says outsiders are all taking away your resources. He goes to Telangana and says outsiders are all. Everywhere he is talking about insider and outsider. I do not understand, because India, nobody can be called as outsider. As an Indian citizen, I am an insider everywhere. And there could be some minor restriction, that is separate. But otherwise, I am not an outsider. So, to put it in simple language, he is having a can of petrol on one hand and a matchbox on the other hand. And he is just moving around. Do not underestimate it. He is a schemer. He is very dangerous, let me tell you that. And he wouldn't mind. He is also talking about north-south divide and others. He wouldn't mind creating chaos in the country in order to get some position or something. God knows what type of position he can get in the context of what Iyer was telling about his citizenship and other thing. But even then, he will try. He is egged on by his thing. In Tamil, you call it usipification. You just, you instigating actually. And that's what I would say. I would say one should be alert. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much. And now let's take a few questions. Let's start with Rohit Akshay. Thank you so much for your generous.
Oh, 129. Very good. Thanks a lot.
Raj Balasubramanian wants to know, why are political lies always a big win among common people? What qualifies a commoner to vet real situation?
See, commoners are, let us be very, very clear. This is my assessment. Only 20% of the youngsters are interested in politics. Others are not much interested at all. They say, all are chores, that's all. Whether Ravan is ruling us or Raman is ruling us, it doesn't. And so many other, extraneous activities like going to a pub and playing football and worried about, T20 and all these things. So among the people who are interested, large number of people are all what you may loosely call, doctors, lawyers. Lawyers at least may know something on politics. So many other type of professionals who are not having continuous touch with politics or anything. So they will just, glance at it. And nowadays people don't even buy newspapers. They just see some television headlines and other. So the point is, a lot of political lies can be carried as long as it is told again and again and by some respectable quote unquote people, it will carry the day. That's all. So this is the situation, Raj, I would say. Okay.
Thank you, sir. And Srikant Iyer wants to know, RV sir, at this point I recall the Brits of 40s who, admitting they couldn't govern anymore, decided to at least split the country first.
Possible. Rahul won't mind splitting the country. Let me tell you very bluntly. Right?
Very true. Very true, sir. Very true.
To get
And
it,
yeah.
some part of the country at least, whether he can head it.
Very true. Sir, I think that brings us to a close of today's program. Professor RV, thank you so much, sir. Take care of your health. We would like to see a cough-free Professor RV.
It will take maybe a couple of more days. Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much, sir.
Namaskar.